Wow. Oh, wow. Very nice.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what it is?
Let me see.
Marcus.
Excellent. Yes, Marcus.
Marcus.
This is a painting that she sent to me from Jamaica. Beautiful painting of Marcus.
Beautiful.
More than a painting, it's a sculpture, and you know, it's quite a nice mixture.
So
nice.
wait, Yashika, you made that?
No, that was a gift Auntie Bayyinah received from Roots FM. Was it Roots or Irie? Irie FM, when you lectured at Marcus Garvey's birthday in last year.
Very
last
nice.
year.
So
Yeah, you got the green, the red, black, and green.
Yes. So he's gonna be part of our program today. He's gonna be with us. So we have two guests. We have Marcus, our ancestor, and our young sister, Yashika.
Beautiful.
Voila.
Fantastic. All right. Oh, wait, bring the camera down just a little bit. There we go. There we go. Yes. Looking good.
Thank you.
All righty. Okay, so I just had our first slide screen up. I'm gonna put it back up, but I wanted to get a closer look at that artwork right there. I need something like that in my office.
Don't start that now.
Oh boy.
You have to wait until you're 70 to get some of those.
I don't have that long to go. What's that? Another maybe 27 years.
Okay, so work hard.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our first screen. And I'm going to be working behind the scenes today. And I am going to hand over the hosting of today's program to Professor Bello. But of course, Professor Bayyinah Bello is someone who doesn't need that much of an introduction. You know, her work speaks for herself. She's been doing research and scholarship on our history, on our ancestors, on African spirituality, and all of our belief systems for decades, over 30 years of research. And she is so kind to share all of that information with us during this program, Bayyinah and Friends, which every Thursday, you'll be able to find us here on Zoom. And with Bayyinah and Friends, we invite a guest to come on the show and, you know, learn a little bit about them, the work that they're doing in the world. And, you know, it's always very interesting to see the work that our people are doing that affects all of us, right? And it's very inspiring. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Professor Bayyinah Bello.
Thank you very much, Franz. Welcome to one more episode of Bayyinah and Friends. Nan nou tout ancêtres yo qui créé, qui te goumen, qui bâti, qui lutte pour peuple noir pas péri. Nan nou tout si la yo qui te choisi marcher, courir, aller bobo, lan mort. Les yo pat wè ki jan pou yo te continuer tracer chemin liberté. Moi salye tout zami Bayyinah and Friends. In the name of those ancestors who invented, built, fought, and struggle so African children will not be erased on our planet, Earth. In the names of those who chose to rush up and kiss death rather than stay in a world where they cannot trace a way to freedom. To all of you, friends and supporters of Bayyinah Bello, we greet you. Our guest today is Yasheka Lopez from Jamaica. I first met Yashika in Kano, Nigeria. She was about 3 or 4. During all the years that our paths have crossed, I have admired her growth, especially her spiritual growth and her own self-growth. Today, you will have the opportunity to share with her, to speak to her, to exchange with her. So sharpen your eyesight so you may discover a very rare, very powerful, very innovative young woman, Yasheka Bello. In the name of Fondation Félicité, all of the volunteers at Fondation Félicité, I understand that you admirers of Jamaica, that you have admirers in Jamaica. They have arranged to live stream, is that the right term? Stream live, live stream, what is it?
Live stream.
Live stream, thank you. They have arranged to live stream this program. I say jumbo to you, Yashika. I say alafia to everyone, hotep, assalamu alaikum, sanu, yawwa sanu. Welcome to Bayyinah and friends, and please greet our guest, Yashika.
Welcome.
Before entering our program, allow me to read to you this one more time, and I will do it very often. This is a poem written over 4,500 years ago by Ethiopian philosopher Amun-Hotep. Now guess what? This poem is part of your heritage. When you want to know about what freedom is, don't go look at what enemies of freedom tells you. Don't go search into books written by slavers and colonizers. Look for what your people said. And here is one. Freedom. Our first mistake was that we thought of freedom as a place rather than as a continuation of a struggle. Next paragraph. Tyranny never sleeps. Let me repeat it again. Tyranny never sleeps. Our second mistake was that we thought of freedom as a goal rather than a launching pad from which to reach our goals. Without purpose, freedom hardly matters. Without purpose, freedom hardly matters. Our third mistake was that we thought freedom made us free. That, however, is license, not freedom at all. Freedom is being shackled to your identity, purpose, and direction, and being in constant pursuit. Being in constant pursuit. So it means that if we do not set purpose, if we do not set objectives, what you're going to do 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, if you don't have these thoughts in your minds, you are not a free person. Must have purpose, must have direction. Before we go any further, let me do my little duty here. Actually, Franz should just put it up for us, but all right. You can reach Fondation Félicité via Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, official Bayyinah Bello, YouTube page, which is in construction. WhatsApp via 509-2940-0869. Also, the website of the Fondation, which is www.fondationfelicite.com. And when you wish to donate through PayPal, you can say pour Fondation Félicité at gmail.com. We'll put that in the chat room soon. So, Yashika, welcome in Bayyinah and Friends.
Akwaba.
How are you?
I am good, and thank you very much for inviting me to this platform today. Welcome, one love from Jamaica.
Thank you, and all of our love to all the Jamaicans following our program. So let's begin with Yashika is a very serious young woman. She prepared what she wanted to share with us, the basis of it anyway. So we're gonna start first with what she has prepared for us. Franz will put it on the screen and Yashika will tell us what we'll guide us through what we'll be looking at.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have 3 companies that I manage. This is my earth, the soil within which I began to plant my seeds with the intention of building and growing within an Afrocentric framework to achieve sustainability and viability. BASBA Theatrical Players Limited seeks to provide access to Afrocentric Caribbean content through the production, promotion, and distribution of literature, performing arts, and industry data that is authentic to Caribbean heritage for individuals seeking to be entertained, connected, and informed. 2, Nakumbuka Foundation. Nakumbuka is the Kiswahili word for I remember. Nakumbuka acts as a ceremonial reminder of the millions of Africans who perished in the African slave trade and the Middle Passage, particularly those who resisted, serves to link us to our African past in a more reverent way, gives us a sense of greater historical and cultural depth, thus fostering greater longevity in our planning and contemplation before action, and inculcates greater regard for human life and greater sensitivity to the benefits of family life. Hummingbird Aviation Consultants Limited, based in Kingston, Jamaica, provides equipment maintenance services, airport consultancy services, and aviation technical services to the transport industry. This firm customers include governments, airports, and airlines. My Air is the environment within which I needed to ensure cleanliness for my seeds to sprout. I call upon my ancestors. According to Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakanen, our history is 400,000 years old. 1,700 years is estimated to be our Arab and Mayafa transatlantic slave trade. So, being a mathematician, I see that as 0.425% of our history. I repeat, that's 0.425% of our history. Let me give it to you in another way. If you look at a clock, which is 24 hours in one day, that means that is 6 minutes and 7.2 seconds of that day. I repeat, that's 6 minutes and 7.2 seconds of a 24-hour day. So I have always kept that in mind I've always kept that perspective in mind at all times. And so from this, I recognize that Nakambuka represented the spiritual foundation, Basva represented the psychological foundation, and Hummingbird represented the physical foundation. My water. The history within which each of these companies were formed. Nakambuka is breaking of the chains, the ritual. Nakambuka was a brainchild of Jomo Nkombe, a Tanzanian living in Canada in 1990. His idea was to remember the victims of the slave trade in East Africa. And upon learning about the transatlantic slave trade, he felt that those victims should be remembered. So he met with Charles Roach, a Canadian jurist born in Trinidad, and asked him to take the idea to the inaugural meeting of the Black think tank of the Pan-Af movement in August 1992 in Lagos, Nigeria. At that meeting, it was resolved and promoted that Nakambuka should be held in every African country. So Jomo Nkombe, Charles Roach, Basil Lopez, and Wade Ferron participated in the first ever Nakambuka ceremony, which was held in Toronto, Canada, November 11, 1992. Bayekes Ba Mera, he held the first in November 11, 1994. Basil Kuznoko Lopez, he introduced Nakambuka here in Jamaica through the Michael University College, February 21st and 22nd, 2003. And I introduced it to Ghana last year, which coincided with the year of return, working with the Institute of African Studies with the University of Ghana, Legon campus. So that's my ritual, which leads me to my principle of two, Basba, the masculine and feminine principle. Now, Basba is a combination of my mother and my father. Baz is Bassa Lopez, Ba is Barbara Lopez, my mother. And so this is the anchor for me, the balance between the masculine and feminine, which I try to engender at all times through my staff. So I try to have both equal male and female in my staff complement at all times. And of course, from the parents, you lead to the child, Nakambuka. So as Auntie Bayyinah mentioned, 1974 to 1976, lived in Nigeria. And of course, en route to Nigeria, my sister and I were unruly at times, so the flight attendant would ask the pilot to occupy us. So I remember sitting in the pilot's lap and seeing the six-pack. So I said to myself at that young age, one day I will know what these circles mean. And that was the birth of Hummingbird. So my fire is the sunlight which the seeds need to feed from to grow and push through the surface of the soil. So Nakambuka is the astronomer, the symbolist. This is the foundation for delving into those remaining 23 hours, 53 minutes, and 52.8 seconds of that full day, that history I tell you about, that 99.575% of our history to delve into, to discover each star and black space between the light to achieve the whole, the universe. Since 1992, Nakambuka has been celebrated in 4 countries around the world with the goal of celebrating in all 54 countries on the African continent. Hummingbird, the mathematician, the geometer, the foundation for building the mode of transportation, which is Afrocentric. I began to research how African peoples influenced, directed, and contributed to world transportation modes. And in January 2012, I presented my research at the roundtable discussion at the Knowledge Management Capacity Workshop in Khartoum, Sudan. And last year in Ghana, Hummingbird was at the Airports Council International Annual Africa Conference. Basba is the musician, the mystic, the one who remembers and understands rhythms or cycles and or vibrations. And this is manifested through, at times, my working hours, because I focus on ensuring that there is quality in output using the African cyclical concept of time. We began with 3 titles representing 1 author, and we have grown to 75 titles representing 15 authors. So we have our destination, which is Nakambuka, the vehicle which we travel, which is Hummingbird, and the storyteller journey that we've made, which is Basba. And within this, I realize I have a 3-dimensional shape, my pyramid.
Thank you.
My
Yes.
pyramid, not yet, my pyramid. Yes, thank you, sir. And now I see, to build further, my seeds have to grow deeper into the soil to give roots. And then my roots grow deeper so that my peak can go above to reach the sunlight, which will manifest into the future. And the inner core of the structure is the principles of Mayat. And through this, I believe I've created an Afrocentric business model which focus on our reality using our resources within the context of our timeline. And since 2003, when I began, I've maintained operations continuing to work towards sustainability and viability. Medasi.
Merci. Thank you. So, now here is a young woman going all the way in trying to find her own expression of what happens. She is practical. She is into her identity. And of course, what she said that was most important to me is something I've been saying, but never putting it in mathematical terms. And I love it. If one day is 24 hours, please help me.
Yes.
Then the time we spent into our enemy's hands is
6 minutes, 7.2 seconds.
all right. So let's round it to 7 minutes. So if one of our history days is 24 hours, and we spent 7 minutes of that 24 hours. 24 hours, that's how many minutes? Let's see. 24 times 60.
24 times. Yep. 4, 2, 6, 12. 18, 1,840.
All right.
Minutes.
So we have 1,840 minutes in our history life. And of that 1,840 minutes, for 6 minutes, 7 minutes, let's round it up, 7 minutes, somebody kidnap us and damage our brain functioning. Now, is it impossible today to undo this?
You could undo it in two minutes, I estimate.
Oh boy, go ahead, girl.
I estimate 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
Yeah.
what are we still doing in this state?
The thing about it, I understand, is to have the basic understanding of that. If you don't have that basic understanding, that's our timeline and our history, then it's going to take longer. But once you have that understanding and you delve into it, 2 minutes.
All right. So how many of our listeners are ready to make that jump? Come out of conditioned thinking, come out of repeating what the enemies say, come out of following what others have decided, and begin to be ourselves again. How many are ready? I don't know if once can see a show of hands for us there. I'm not having this conversation by myself. We're not having it just the two of us. We're having it with everyone. So how many are ready to change the situation that they are in today? Somebody's saying, everyone, let's do it.
Yep.
Okay.
Looks like everyone is ready.
Good. If everyone is ready, then what do we do to make, now that it's clear? See, our young sister has come and mathematically show us, here is how long we've been on this earth. Here is how long we've been managing the planet. And here comes some folks who captures us, play in our minds, and make us confused. We have forgotten who we are. We have forgotten our power. We have forgotten our forces. We have forgotten our puissance. So now, if we decide today that we want to go back to who we are, then what are the steps? Okay. Number one, you have to be conscious. The sister said it already. You have to take conscious. All right, sure, I did this, and that, and I'm very proud of this, that, and the other. But actually, all of this isn't anything. It is not me. It doesn't take me anywhere. And if we go back 5,000 years to our philosopher's words, he said what to us? Number one, first mistake is that you thought freedom was a place. Rather than understand, it is a continuation of a struggle. So fighting for freedom is not something you do yesterday and then today you say, okay, it's done. No, it's continued. Why is it continued? Amunhotep told us, because tyranny never sleeps. So if tyranny never sleeps, then if I want to be free, then what's my program? What do I have to do if I want to be free? Any proposals, any ideas, any propositions? What do we do if we want to be free? Somebody says plan, yes. But the first thing, you have to decide you want to be free, okay? And you have to always remember, tyranny never sleeps. So if you're gonna fight against tyranny and you have vacation, coffee break, lunch break, all the other stop working things, then you will not win the battle, because tyranny never sleeps. What do you say, Yashika? How did you get to this growth that I have observed over the years with you?
I think the foundation started on the continent, to be frank, understanding that we were the sleeping giants. We were old, we're ancient, we're the grandmas and grandpas of Earth. And I somehow grasped that at a young age. And from that, I always held that in high esteem and understood we are responsible for humanity, not just humans, but earthlings, like the trees, the plants, the water, the stones, everything. That's our responsibility, and that's been our mandate as African peoples. That's what we're responsible for. And over the years, I just said, okay, let's stick to that. Like, stick to the program, stick to honoring that, and delve. I think one of the great parts of that 7 minutes is as you have Marcus Garvey with you, we began to see the continent as a whole. I'm unsure in that other, 99.4% if we managed to see the continent as a whole. I mean, possibly because you had Timbuktu, but now we now see the continent as a whole. And so we delve right in, and we take the essence of what is there. I hope I've answered your question.
Certainly. And certainly, I hope you are inspiring others to answer the question for themselves. Because that's the most important thing. It's not just to listen to somebody else's answer, but to dig into you and find your own answer. All right. So you went to school. I met you around 4. You went to school. You were a naughty little girl, getting into trouble all the time. Was that so?
A little bit of a tomboy, yes. Still am. Still am.
Okay. So, but all of this, it wasn't that a lot of it curiosity, wanting to know what they were not telling you, wanting to search for what was not evident to you, whereas other people wanted to tell you, well, this is the way it is. But you wanted to see what was behind the way it is. Okay, so questioning, constantly looking, very often it's not appreciated in schools. Children who are questioning things want to know something more than what the teacher says. Okay. But that's the first proof of intelligence. The first proof of intelligence is the desire to question, the desire to know more than what is said. If we observe like our 2-year-olds, very often, they ask more questions than anybody else. Why did auntie, that's the 2-year-old. But after 6, they go to school and they no longer have any questions. They just recite what is told. They question very, very rarely. Very few of us remain that, keep that ability to question things. So we continue. Purpose. We see that Amunhotep tells us you must, to be free, you must know who you are, and you must have purpose. Tell us about your purpose, Yashika. One specific thing that you aimed for in the past.
Well, to manifest a reality that is Afrocentric, that's ours, and how to facilitate that. That's been the major thing. And you must have your spiritual anchoring to create the thoughts before you can put it into tangibility form. So it's a 3 realities, 3 steps removed from my understanding. So, and to ground it, for me, the principles of Mayat has always been sound to me, and I've maintained using the principles of Mayat to build and work towards manifesting that reality. For instance, for the pyramid, I said the interior of the pyramid is Mayat: truth, balance, harmony, justice, order, reciprocity, proprietary. And I try to keep that in place at all times with everything I do, with Basba, Hummingbird, and Nakambuka. And through there, you can get a good feel and I think the rhythm in life.
Absolutely, the rhythm in life. We've seen in the past how music is the first thing, or hearing rather, is the first thing that we do, that we have as we come into the world, is the ability to hear. But we also saw that in Egyptian education, music is the very first thing that is taught to children. It's music, geometry, and astronomy. These are the 3 A's, so-called, or the 3 R's. Music, geometry, astronomy. So you see, our sister naturally has developed 3 expressions of her being, her life, her action in life. And each one of them, she is clear as to its role in her life, what this is bringing and in what area. I love the fact that she puts things into the elements as well. She tells you, this is my earth, this is my air, this is my fire. Yes, we are made of those 4 elements, and we need to be conscious when we are acting in any particular element at any particular moment. So we see purpose, freedom. Without purpose, freedom hardly matters. What would you say about that? Without purpose, freedom hardly matters.
You won't have a concept that you're free if you don't have purpose. You'll be like a robot, a zombie.
Absolutely.
That's how I interpret it.
Correct. So if we're living in a world where everything is predetermined, pre-set, okay? All right, they've determined that you should go to preschool at such and such age, and at 5, you should go to such and such grade. And you should sing this song and dance this dance and read this book. And everyone who goes through the system is forever citing the same people. If it's not, if you're in English, then it will be citing Shakespeare, and you'll be citing, you know, if you're from a French training, then you'll be citing Molière, Voltaire. So when do you know that you are free, that you have your own words, you have your own opinion, you have your own concept of something, perception? When do you know that? If all you're doing is reciting what school has given you. Let me put the question differently. Did you go to, you have Hummingbird as a business, dealing with equipments for airplanes, for airports and stuff like that, right? Did you go to a school of airports or aviation? I don't know.
I went to the Civil Aviation Institute in Canada, and I also went to Loughborough University in England. So that was that.
We're not hearing you very well.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, now, yes, okay.
Can you hear me?
Would you give the answer? Yeah, we
yes.
didn't. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I went to
did you go to a school that trained you to create Hummingbird?
No, like, I mean, I learned the technical aspects of it through the Canada Civil Aviation Institute and the Loughborough University, but I think it started from 4 years old. I just say God, I don't know how else to explain it. The impetus to want to know what this thing is, what flight is, that came into me at 4 years old. I don't know how else to explain what that was, that creativity, that energy. And I recognized it at 4, and I ensured I kept doing it. So that purpose kind of formed itself at 4 years old, and I made sure I would find out, no matter what. And I did. I'm still trying to find out from an African perspective, what are modes of travel? And I'm still researching that even now. Because with this Wuhan virus, like, I want to be in Ghana, I want to be in Tanzania, but I recognize the aircraft. We as African peoples, we haven't built our own. We haven't manufactured our own. So how do I move from here to Ghana if I had our own African source of or mode of transportation? The only thing I know historically was ships. I know we built ships from West Africa to come here, but who are building ships today so that if I wanted to travel to the West Africa, I could go without needing an aircraft?
I missed part of what you said.
In terms of the traveling, the mode of transport between us here in the West and to West Africa. Right now, we only use an aircraft which is manufactured by Boeing, Airbus, right? They're manufactured in the United States, Australia, Germany. I forget which countries are manufacturing these aircraft. We as African peoples right now, right? All flights are locked down. They're just opening in Jamaica. But if I want to get to West Africa, how do I get there now without using an instrument that a European man created? The only thing we built was ships. Who today is building our ships? Even that. So I could go on a ship today and go to West Africa. I could go to Ghana. I could go to Tanzania. So that's one of the things I'm trying to do. Link with who is manufacturing, who is building, who among us as African peoples have the know-how, have the capability, and we build. We build. And so we can move and get to where we need to get to without depending on anybody else. Listen, it's just 7 minutes. We have 23 hours to go through. It's there. We just need to dig through, find it, and build and do it. That's me. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. That's the way the energy came out. Welcome that energy. You're talking about transformation. You're talking about decision. You're talking about very ogu activities. So that's normal that it comes out with force. Welcome. While you were talking, prior to the Euro-Christian slavery system, did we ever travel?
Yes. Yes. And traveled vastly, we did.
Exactly. So building boats and ships and all kinds of equipment.
We've done it.
It's done already. The thing is, we are suffering from loss of memory.
Nakumbuka, which is the Kiswahili word for I remember. So that's delving back into our memory bank and bringing all that information back. Nakumbuka. Okay.
There are two things. There is and the forgetting was not by chance. We have to know that. The forgetting was with purpose. Someone decided that in their best interest, we must forget what we know. And even when we know it, we must have the attitude, the mental attitude that without their instructions, we cannot do it. And that is strengthened through all the years in school. I remember in a film with, forgot her name, a very famous singer. She was taken in to play the role of an African woman in the jungle. And Big White Tarzan was gonna teach her how to walk through the jungle. And so the actress said, but if I'm the African, I've always been in the jungle, how come I need to wait for the white man, Tarzan, to tell me how to do it? Of course, the filmmaker said, that's the way it is. But you see, through this kind of scenes, they are doing something to our minds. They are teaching us that even when we are and have been there for all those years, all those centuries, all those millenniums, until they come, we don't exist. That's really the way the history has been taught. Look at the words. So-and-so discovered America. So America didn't exist until their eyes was set on it. And of course, what do they tell us about what these people were doing prior to this discovery? Nothing. And that's how they build the loss of memory. The same thing is true. Not long ago, I was looking at an African woman in a conference, and she's saying, imagine, I have grown, my grandmother, my great-grandma, we all grew up by the Congo River. And then here I go to school. I think maybe she was doing her master's or PhD, whichever. And she had to learn in a book that so-and-so Belgian man discovered the river that her great-grandma and her great-grandparents always dealt with all their lives. And we find until we have a level of consciousness, we will find that normal. That, yeah, the Africans were there, but they didn't know the river was there until the white men came and said, hey, this is a river. What did we bathe in? Where did we get water from? See, so we have to become aware. We have to awaken of the consciousness. So when we read that kind of material, when we see it in films, when we hear it in songs, we can recognize it and put it in its proper place in the garbage. So, our third mistake. What is our third mistake? We thought freedom made us free. What does that mean?
We don't have the action component in it. It's just on thought alone.
We thought freedom made us free.
Yeah.
So
There's no action.
Go ahead.
There's no action. You must act and think simultaneously. Word and action must harmonize. If you don't have the two, you have no third object. So you can't just be in thought alone. You must do something. There must be action. You got to do something.
Wait a minute, Yashika. Are you contradicting the great Euro-Christian philosopher who said, I think, therefore I am?
I don't know who he is, but you got to do both of them. I know you got to think and act. That's what I know. That's how it works. Okay? I don't know anything else. Any woman who is in a healthy marriage knows that. Okay? The man must do what he says, full stop. If you don't do what you say, it's nothing. It's empty. Your word and action must be in harmony.
Excellent. Yes. So you see, we're always operating on at least 3 levels simultaneously. We think, we say, and we do. That's where we advance. That's where progress and development will come from. Not from reciting, not from repeating or copying. We must think, we must speak, and we must do. And we get to our last paragraph here. It says, freedom is being shackled to your identity. What is this? How can they say freedom and then they say shackle?
You're now moving into the realm of imagination. You must be able to transition and transform. You must reconcile the opposites. If you go too far east, you meet west. So you must have that ability. If you do not, then you will be shackled.
But being shackled to your identity. Being shackled to identity, purpose, and direction. And being in constant pursuit. Being shackled to identity. That means I must know who I am. And I must not be, this week I'm like this, and next week I'm something else. I'm following fashion. When somebody decide we should all dress half naked, I go half naked. Next year they decide we should all be covered to the ankle, I cover to the ankle. Purple is the color this year, so all my wardrobe, I have to throw away everything that's not purple and buy purple. There is no identity there. When you have identity, you have made choices and you continuously working at these choices. We don't find you 10 years from now one way, 20 years from now a different way, another 40 years totally different again. There is no identity if we're following fashion, if we're following, taking dictations from what we eat, what we wear, how we dress. Identity is not present. So identity must not only be present, but it must be shackled to us, to our soul. That's what keeps us in constant pursuit. If the identity is a hat, I wear it when I want to, and then when I don't want to, I don't, well, then it's not identity. Because identity does not move about. It's there. And it grows with you. It ages with you. We have to accept ourselves continuously. And that's how we pursue for generations the same purpose, the same objective. All right, let's do a little bit of jumping, Yashika. Where were you 10 years ago?
10 years ago, here in Jamaica, 2010. Here in Jamaica, yeah, here in Jamaica, I was around, I registered Hummingbird at that time around August. I registered Hummingbird Aviation Consultants as a trading as company. BASBA was already in place. BASBA was officially, I think, 7 years old at that time. And no lie, it was 4 years old at that time. And Nakambuka was celebrated 2 times. We're preparing for Nakambuka 2011 at the Jamaica Conference Center, 2010.
Very good. And excellent memory on top of it. Now let's jump again. Well, will you be 10 years from now?
Oh, I'm going to be on the continent, man. That was easy.
You'll be living on the continent of Africa, doing what?
By that time, I think I should have Nakambuka fully established on the continent. I'm hoping I should. I want to have Arabic locked by the next 2 years, Kiswahili locked this year. And so strong communication, strong links. So Nakambuka should be in the curriculum. I'm going for all African countries, 54.
Go ahead, girl. Now that's what you call a woman with a plan, a woman with purpose. And so, all right. And oh yes, when you say Kiswahili should be locked this year. Arabic should be locked 2 years from now. What is this lock? What does that mean?
I'm fluent. I'm fluent in Kiswahili. I'm fluent in Arabic language.
Very good. Yes, we have to be clear so all of our audience see. See, she has purpose. She wants to go live on the continent, and part of her program is that she must master certain languages that are very useful and prevalent on the continent, which is, of course, intelligent. If you're gonna go move someplace, you wanna be able to speak to a certain, at least a certain number of people. What does relax mean to you?
I think after the work is done, or if my body says stop. But I'm being more mindful these days, actually, and paying attention to the cycles, like life cycles. And there's a time to rest. And I think in that rest moment, I try to get to a space of nothing so the creativity can come.
Fabulous. Eric just sent us a word saying, I am from Africa and would like to know more, to know which part of the continent she would like to call home in the future. My name is Eric Akafia, and I'm watching from Liberia. I'm a Ghanaian.
Okay, hi, Eric. Right now, I was in Ghana last year, October and November. So I scoped out Ghana. I touched Togo and Benin. Honestly, I like Togo because it has that little bit of a Caribbean flair to it. I don't know, it's small, it's a little intimate. I want to explore Tanzania or Kenya, and also as well Rwanda. So I want to explore those. I've been to South Africa, been to Mozambique, been to Sudan, been to Ethiopia. So I want to make that decision after I've explored it, but as long as I'm on the continent, I'm good. I'm good.
Very good, very good. So, a woman with purpose, a woman testing. She doesn't just decide, you know, I like this, the name of this country, and she jumps to it. No, she travels, she evaluates, she assesses. She knows what she wants to do, and she wants to do it in the right place at the right time. So he's at work. So would you call this traveling? Relaxing, having fun? Or is it work?
Work. Work.
Mm-hmm. So some of us don't know that. You can have you can set up your work in a way that your work will break away from your routine without bringing you to what their concept of vacation, where you break away from everything you know and everything you do and et cetera, and you're totally into somebody's program. Be careful. Make sure you're always running your program. Yashika, can you share with your admirers, because I'm looking at the chat there are plenty of them, a brief history of 3 of your favorite sheroes.
3 of my favorite sheroes.
Just one, that's all right too.
The first one, Goddess Isis, Aset. She has always been foremost in my mind. And or the principles of Mayat. And the other one would be Cleopatra. I was always fascinated with the fact that she learned what she learned from all the prostitutes in Egypt. She went and studied with them and did what she needed to do. So I was like, yes.
Smart woman.
Exactly. And Shiro. Winnie Mandela. Yeah.
Very good.
Winnie Mandela.
All right. Just for those who might not have enough information about Cleopatra, Cleopatra was a young woman, 16 years old, and when her country was occupied, first she fought with the army, trying to keep her country free. But then when she lost, and she learned about how the Roman soldiers, what they do to women, how they handle women and all this, she decided she did not want these people to do to her, to harm her in the way that they have, what she's heard. And so one way was she had to know about men, what she does not know yet. So the experts on men are prostitutes. So she went to some of the prostitutes in her country and asked them to educate her as to how women handle men in that way and how not to be taken by force. So she learned all she could learn about it. And when she returned, she decided she was not gonna let her head was, Caesar had already put a price on her head. They wanted to find her dead or alive. So she decided she was not gonna let him find her, but she wanted to find him. So she wrapped herself into a carpet and had somebody deliver the carpet to him with instructions. Don't let them just take the carpet and put it someplace. Make sure you insist that they open the carpet in front of you. And sure enough, when they unrolled that carpet, she was in the carpet, stepped right up, walked up to Caesar and told him, "Give me the money, I bring you my head, so pay me." And the man was just stunned. Last thing he expected. So, of course, the rest of the story we know. He had forbidden the languages of Egypt. He had forbidden all religious practices. He had forbidden and every element, closed all the temples, etc. So she demanded that if they are to be married, it has to be in an Egyptian temple, in the Egyptian language, according to Egyptian laws. So she undid every law he had already taken. So this is when we're talking about people who are fighting, weapons are everywhere in all forms. You have to make the right choice and use the right weapon to get what you want done. So yes, Cleopatra is a very interesting personality and a very young person. Okay, if you were recommending some books, what would you advise some of us to read?
Women Who Run with the Wolves by Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Black Man of the Nile by Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakanen. The Book of the Coming Forth by Day. Stokely Speaks. Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture. Autobiography of Malcolm X. thinking.
That's fine.
Thinking of other genres. I'm thinking of other genres that people might be. One of the things I think is important is science fiction, looking into the future as well. Reading works that project into the future.
Yes.
The only one I'm thinking of is, I think, what's her name? Kincaid, is that her name? I know she used to write works. Not a fan of her works, but I would suggest any African authors that delve into the future. Octavia Butler. That's the person. Somebody wrote it. Octavia Butler.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Octavia Butler. She's the author. I'm not a fan of her works, but she delves into that.
Very good. Thank you very much. Once again, I have to give you the list as to how you can contact Fondation Félicité. You can do it on Twitter, you can do it on Instagram, you can do it on Facebook, on official Bayyinah Bello YouTube. WhatsApp is 509-2940-0869. The website is www.fondationfelicité.com. And to donate, it's pourfondationfelicité@gmail.com. Yashika, is there something that, a way that you want our people to be able to contact you?
Nakumbuka Foundation, info@nakumbuka.org, or there's on, I think, yes, it's on here. That's it.
Okay, very good. Because you see, we're not just about talking. You heard what Yashika said a little while ago. She said we have to do 3 things. A healthy person works on 3 levels simultaneously: thinking, talking, and acting. 3. So it's not our purpose, and Bayyinah and friends, it's not for us to say, oh yeah, I heard, oh, that sister was good, sister from Jamaica. Oh, she talks some mean talk. And then stops there. Not interesting. Oh, Bayyinah, I love to listen to her. I've listened to all her videos. And then nothing. No, we have to do thinking, speaking, and acting. Our purpose is to create a movement where we learn to grow together and take decisions together and change the world together. It's not about some little business here and there. It's about us taking our place on this planet, on our planet. Our planet. We're not talking about the planet. Our planet, our galaxy, our universe. So we have to change the thoughts, which will change the words, the talking. And once the thinking and the talking is correct, then the proper actions will take place. In order to do that, we have to have contacts with each other. We have to have a way. So now you have Yashika, and whatever she's doing, she could let you know what you're doing. You let her know. We let each other know what we want to do, and when we need each other's support. Not when somebody shoot at us. It's when we are working at our purposes. That's when we need the support of each other. When we are aiming for our purposes, when we're building the pyramid, that's when we need each other's support. All right, let us continue. Yashika, let's talk a little bit about my good friend, Basil Lopez.
Okay. Okay. What do you want to know?
Well, he is a theater man. He is a writer. He is a poet. There's a, we want to know about him.
Okay. Basil Lopez was my father. He passed November 4th, 2018. It was from him I received my Afrocentric upbringing. I see my father as, my father and Auntie Bayyinah as soul brothers and sisters, where my dad paint the outside of the house black, Auntie Bayyinah paint the inside of the house black. So I said, these people know each other. Dad was an author first. Well, I should say intellectual, brilliant man. He achieved some great intellectual feats here in Jamaica. I'd have to read his book to know what it was. I can't recall. But like, he graduated at this young age and did all this stuff. But I know him as an author, and he was self-published. This is in the 60s, late 60s. I'm born 71, so before I'm born, he had published, I think, 2 books. So whereas today, everybody know about the self-publishing, but 1969, who was self-publishing, right? So it's way ahead of the curve. He decided at that age that he would not sell his rights to his work. So whereas people would know other Jamaican authors or Caribbean authors like Cameron Brathwaite, your Walter Rodney's, Dad knew all of them, but he chose to self-publish. So you're talking 1969, 1968, he's self-publishing. And he developed also a style of Jamaican language. He was the first to write in Jamaican language, first to write a poem in the Jamaican language called Jonker Thinking Picnic White. And he was a dancer. He represented Jamaica in England and France as a dancer. He also created a form of dance called creative dance. He taught it to my sisters. Unfortunately, they didn't carry it on. He also was an actor, playwright, poet. Did I miss anything? Teacher, director. Did I miss anything? Husband, father. Yeah. Wrote, wrote 9 books. I think he wrote 12 plays and 1 DVD, 1 stage, what is it? I'm missing it. Yeah. I remember what the one is. Novel, 1 novel.
All right. Thank you. To this, I can add that, I don't remember which year, but he came to Haiti twice. I went to visit the Citadel and all the important sites. And Yashika came to Haiti in 2004 with a friend from Africa, wanting to celebrate Haiti's 200 independence. That was her purpose for coming. And her friend was from Sudan, right?
Sudan, yes. Sudan.
So both of them came to celebrate Haiti's independence, 200-year independence. Even though there was lots of problems in Haiti and there wasn't too much of a celebration. So, okay. All right. So Yashika, when we, on the political field, you mentioned Walter Rodney a little while ago. Is it someone that you have, that you've studied up, you look up on his work, what he did?
No, I haven't read him. I just knew Dad spoke about him. He just said, you remember the last time he saw Walter? And he said he was at UA and this and that. So just know of the people he knew.
Okay.
Who I read was Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture. I read him, and political Malcolm X, definitely Malcolm X. Try to read Marcus Garvey, but I never finished reading Marcus Garvey. I started but never finished. Could you imagine this Jamaican woman?
That's all right. There's plenty of reading to be done and plenty of time to do it. So don't worry about it. So what is important for us to remember about Walter Rodney is the author of How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, which is a very important book for us to read. It will help us understand our economic situation a lot better and stop saying unintelligent things like, oh, Haiti chose to be poor, or Africans just don't have the know-how. We had the know-how before, how come we don't have it anymore? That's obviously, that's not what the problem is. So, yes, very, very important. Okay, I think we can move on to, if you don't have anything else you want to share directly with us, we'll move to opening up to let our audience exchange with you, because that's a very big part of our program.
Yes, yes, okay. Thank you so much for that conversation. Very enlightening conversation between you two. Learned a lot about you, Yashika. So congratulations to all the great things that you're doing. I like the way you think big, right? We need our own airlines. We need our own everything, right? So that we can support ourselves. So what I'm going to do, okay, already people are raising their hands. But before we go to the questions, I wanted to make sure I share something with everyone. Hold on 1 second. Let's see if I could get this right. Okay, no, it's not up. Okay, I'll share it another time. Okay, so let's go to the questions first. First question is from Diana. Diana, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask the question, please.
Hi, Franz. Hi, Bayyinah. And hello, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting names right now. Yashika, thank you. I first want to say to both of you, thank you for doing this and giving confirmation in self right now as well, because there's a lot of people moving who may feel like in the push of move may feel like, people don't see what they're seeing. Confirmation that it's being moved throughout is appreciated. Secondly, also hearing that the field, the lineage, I can very much relate. Recently losing my father, of course my daughter would do that. I can understand that. With the movement of having our own, because that's particularly my plight right now. It's the buy-in and the buyback, right? And I love the fact that I came in right when you're talking about mass transport. That's actually something crazy enough. I was thinking of more like media, food, land, in that category, right? Justice systems, schooling, I think. So that being said, in that major push and seeing how you're doing that in Africa, whatever, and being here, because we are majorly moving, especially with our collaborative. I'm gonna shout them out, the Haitian American Collaborative. We have a desperate plight to just continue forward at this moment in time. I guess with the movement and action, what just additional information, movement, advice would you do and give for us, for a group, and for a person who's also trying to continue a parent's both parents' plights who were amazing for the community and for a child who bleeds community.
Definitely continue. No matter what, continue to work. Sometimes you get bogged down a little, but the important is to continue, maintain consistency, always, 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 always. I can't stress that anymore. That was the advice I got when I started. I didn't understand it. Over the years, I understand it. What happened is you're building credibility, you're building consistency, you're building your roots. Just keep going, jump your hurdles. No matter what challenges you face, jump them. There's infinite ways to solve your challenges. Write them down, have a model, so that when the younger generation come to you, give it to them. Give them the procedure, give them the documents so they study it. But keep going and document, 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 keep going, document, keep going, document.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Diana, okay, before we go to the next question, let me try this again.
That's nice.
Here we go. All right, this is what Bello was trying to get up on the screen. So for everyone who would like to contact Fondation Félicité, donate, follow on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere, here's all your information. It's the best way to get in contact with and support Fondation Félicité. All right. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. So the next question comes from Terrain. Terrain, go ahead and unmute yourself and you can ask the question, please.
Hi, are you guys hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, thank you guys for hosting this session. When are you guys coming to Canada? Before I ask my question.
That's a good question. Canada was on our list. Montreal, Toronto, a lot of different places. We're gonna have spend a week up there, but with everything that just happened, it's kind of hard to plan things now. But definitely, hopefully next year we'll be up in Canada with you guys.
Looking forward to that. So my question is for both Mama Bello and Yashika. So within the community, there is this ideology among some of our leaders that women are unfit to lead and unfit to teach. What do you think about that?
Well, are you saying leaders in the true sense of leaders or politician?
In the true sense of leaders.
They wouldn't think that. Sorry. A true leader understands the balance of the masculine and feminine energy. You need the 360 degrees. You need a full circle. You need what am I thinking? Council of elders. Council of elders have both the masculine and feminine energy. The politicians, they'll think that, but true leaders, nah, they don't have that thought process. That's been my experience.
And Mama Bello, what's your position on that?
Is she there?
Mama Bello there?
Yeah, she's there, but she's muted.
Okay. All right. It is the nature of life. There is nothing that exists. No form of life is masculine, and then another form is feminine. Everything is created with masculine and feminine coming together. And again, if we go on our 24-hour, the 23-something hours that is ours, when we look at our ancestors, whether we look in Africa, we will find all the women rulers, women army, women this, women that. There was no one-sided nothing. And when we look in our traditional Aborigines ancestry, again, we find the same thing. The presence of women and men at every level. In Haiti, the crown that ruled the island of Haiti, because that name Haiti has been there more than 4,000 years prior to the invasion by Euro-Christians of the island. So on that island, the rule was you have a crown, not one person ruling, but a crown of 5. But that crown must have women and men. It's a must. They can never be 5 men. It can never be made up of 5 women. It has to be 1-4, 2-3, 3-2, whichever way, but female and male within the crown to run the country properly. So, based on our history, based on our nature, there is no debate. And it's not about pulling on one side, you know, the women have to, you know, the men have, no. In order for you to have a balanced situation, then you need both, period. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would agree with that 100%. Even in the leadership of my own household, right? My wife and myself, we create that balance that our family needs, right? In order to run an effective household. So definitely balance is important in all phases of life. Let's see. Okay, any other questions for Yashika? I have a question for Yashika. All right, Yashika. So I noticed on your slides that you have your title as entrepreneur, right? That's something that I call myself a lot as well when I don't want to run down the list of all the different things that I do, all the 5, 6, 7 different businesses and things that I do on a day-to-day basis. For someone that does a lot of different things, do you find time in your schedule? Do you make sure that each business has the same amount of time or attention given to it on a daily basis? Or is it something like when something requires more of your time, then you could maybe spend like 2 weeks straight on one entity and the other ones, you know, they may be running okay, so you don't spend that much time with them. But the way I kind of run my businesses, it's almost like seasonal, I guess is the best way to say it. Like, for instance, now my mom has a catering business that I help her with. I find myself spending a lot more time, like this is catering season. And then my books, when I write, I'm not really writing a whole lot right now. I have for the past couple of weeks though. But I realized that there's a season. I can't really devote a lot of time to everything at the same time. Like I kind of concentrate on one thing at a time. What's your strategy with balancing all the different things that you do?
The latter, what you said. I usually go with the flow, so I don't have a strict regime like, you know, 3 hours here, 3 hours here, 3 hours there, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. No, it's definitely a cyclical flow. So you will find that, in fact, it varies in terms of day flow, it varies in terms of month flow, it varies in terms of seasonal flow, and it varies in terms of annual flow. For I've observed this year, 2020, I'm moving more into Nakambuka. So the majority of my time so far this year has been mostly Nakambuka's work. Whereas I would say 2011 would have been Hummingbird. A Hummingbird took a lot of time. 2012, Basba took a lot of time. 2015, Nakambuka again. And then in a month period, that I will know, okay, towards 3 or 4 days in the month, definitely hummingbird work. And then 2 or 3 weeks in the month, buzz work. So it's definitely like a flow. Definitely a flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the way I look at it sometimes is like, especially when for a newer business, it takes a lot more time to get it up off of the ground, right? Like a rocket ship, it expends most of its fuel just launching into the atmosphere, and then once it's up into the atmosphere, then it could just kind of coast, right? But like in the beginning, it definitely requires a lot of work, and other things may suffer, but you can get back to your other things once that what has your focus at the time is like launched to the point where you're like, okay, this is good right now, so let me go back and work on my other things. So awesome.
What I've also observed as well, if there is a change, it takes around 3 months to normalize. So if there's like 2 or 3 changes, then like around, 6, 9 months, you know what I mean? With this shift now in the world, with this shift in change and everything, this is going to take longer than 3 months, a reason that much. But I also see it as a beautiful opportunity to completely, again, create a new reality, which is where I'm at right now. So it's almost as if it canceled out the 3 months and you're just in creation mode.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's how we got to Bayyinah and Friends, right? Me and Ma Bello, we were on tour going to all of these different cities all over the country with plans to go to the West Coast, to Canada. And then once all of that shut down, then we had to find another route, right, to continue our mission. And this is how we ended up here on Zoom, on Thursdays with Bayyinah and Friends and Know Yourself and a lot of other things, to come. So definitely you have to go with the flow. All right. Let's see. I think you had a question here in the chat.
Okay.
Let's see. Yashik, do you care for your personal self differently and consistently? Yashika.
Do I care for myself?
For your personal self differently and consistently.
Yes. I have to do my meditation. Like, I have to. Like, I can't even function without that. I don't even know what that is. I have to do my meditation. So I look at that as my personal or spiritual grounded self. For me as well, order, cleanliness is important to me. So I need to organize my space, usually seasonally. I go deep into cleaning, like seasonally, like I'm talking pull down curtains, everything, like move, shift, library, everything, clean out, move, shift. And that helps me to center myself. And I do it without thinking it. I also fast. I fast as well. Seasonally, I fast with the equinoxes and the solstices. We're having June solstice soon. So I fast as well. That also centers me. That's my personal, me taking care of myself personally. My health, I'm now pesco vegetarian. I make sure I have no sugars in my diet. I still eat oils and salt, but sea salt. So that aspect, I take care of myself. Intuitively, I try to commune with nature. That one, I see it manifest when things are synchronizing. Then I know, okay, I'm going in the right direction when things are synchronizing, and then I know, okay, yeah, my personal health is aligned with life.
Awesome.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
I must say, Yashika is the only person I know who called me up and said, Auntie Bayyinah, I had 30 dreams last night. She not only remembers the numbers, she remembered each one of them and told me each dream. And so that means when you can do this with precision, that means you really have a very tight, your inner self and the outer self are quite well balanced for you to wake up and remember every details of what happened during the night. So, and you can cultivate it by paying attention, even if it's just you have, last night, I dreamt I saw ice cream and a bird. See, looks like this means nothing, but take it seriously. Write it down. And then little by little, you will see that you will have a better relationship with your dreams and have more understandable stories in your dreams.
Yeah, I need some tips on remembering my dreams. That's for sure. Let alone 30 dreams, Lord. So that's very impressive. Okay, we have a question from Paulema Miro. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
We hear you quite well,
Okay. Honor, and I want to say thank you to Mobello, Franz, and Yashika for holding this. This is a true gem, and I'm learning so much. And thank you for doing this for free, because this is just so precious and unbelievable. And Yashika, I just want to say that you're a true inspiration. So it was an honor to actually meet you today. So my question is to both Mobello and Yashika. What I want to know is that while you are in the process of learning oneself, discovering who you are and your true identity, can you still take action and create, or will that be seen as premature? I don't know if that makes sense.
Of course, we already told you. Think, speak, do continuously.
Okay.
So, but you also have to go back and look and say, woof, that was ridiculous. This thing I did last week, whoa, forget it. I hope nobody saw that one. Okay, that's part of growing. That's part of growing. So you must not be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are lessons.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. That answered my question. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Let me continue on that, the mistake part. One of the things, as a mathematician, you're actually taught to see your mistakes. And I somehow people miss that step when they learn maths. I don't know why, but that's the most important part. You have to be able to literally specifically see your mistake for you to correct it. If you cannot find your mistake, you won't be able to correct it. And that's one of the things I forgot to mention when I spoke. I have both math is my first love and art as well, fine art, I draw. So I have both the left brain and the right brain thingamajiggy balance. So on the mathematical side, the ability to always see your mistakes. And the point of the mistake is, well, mathematics is to seek your solution. And your solutions can be always, it could be the null set, it could be nothing, it could be the exact one, or it could be infinity. And it's to be aware that you have all these options as solutions, and which is the best one to apply for the particular scenario you're in.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, I see you have your pink on. Very, very nice.
Yes. Ilaren Esli Freda Daume, she's my inspiration. So I always wear pink on Thursday, just like Mobello.
Great. All right. Thank you so much for your question. All right. I don't see anything else in any hands up.
Okay.
So, I guess what we can do now, we could take, you want to take over right now, Marbella?
Sure. Thank you to everyone who has been with us. Some of you, even I am not very good at remembering names, and I'm remembering your names. So that means I've been seeing it a lot. Thank you very, very, very much. And we really hope that what you want to do, what we want to do, the reason we're doing this more than anything is for us to grow together, for us to, like today, the lesson Yashika gave us. Hey, your history is hundreds and thousands of years. But if we were to put those 100,000 into a day, it would be just 24 hours. And if we take the time that we've been in the devil's school, it's only 7 minutes. So there is nothing here that you cannot change. You have the knowledge, you have the power, add in the consciousness, put in the determination, the purpose, and then the determination. Because without purpose, determination has no use, again. Okay, we have to have a purpose. We have to be clear. This is where we want to go. Freedom, if freedom is your objective, then you have to be clear on all the chains and all the constraints that are keeping you where you are. And one by one, not one day break it all, just one by one. You saw there's a chain here, let's break that one. After you break that one, you'll say, oh, there's one over here too. Let me get rid of that one. And then look at your ankle, and then look at the other one. But the most complicated are the ones in our brains, in our minds, things that we do not think about. One of the things that make me laugh are artists who are making, for example, plays, and they are very African-centered. But then when you listen to the music they use, they are still enslaved in church music. They're still enslaved in, this has to have, if we talk about the Emperor Dessalines, then we have to use Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, because that's what is impressive. We have to be careful, because there are all those other little chains. Those are easy chains, the ones on the wrist, but the ones in the mind, the ones that we've been repeating all the time. In my case, one time I'm rereading a book that I was writing. I must have reread it 20 times, at least 20 times, and felt it was practically ready. And then I noticed, every time I mentioned the name change, I said baptize. Baptize has nothing to do with name changing, but having gone to the religious school all these years, having gone to church all these years, I was enslaved into that perception of things. So anytime the church talk about a new name, it's about baptizing. Okay? They name the country this, they name the space that. It doesn't have to be baptized. But I read it over 20 times and still didn't see it. And I had to go through that text and erase maybe 50 times baptized. So we have to do things, yes. We have to look at what we do with critical eyes. We have to be courageous and say, hey, this is a mistake. This is nonsense. We have to correct ourselves. If you can't do it, let somebody else do it for you. But don't be angry when they tell you what they think. But we must correct each other. There's no way that we can autocorrect all the time. So those 7 minutes are very hard to undo, but we must determine. It's only 7 minutes out of 24 hours. It's not such a big job. It can be done. We can clean ourselves up. And to help, do some physical cleaning. taking a bath with lemon, and lemon is green always. There is no yellow lemon. Take a bath with lemon and salt, real salt, not refined salt. Take a bath with lemon and baking soda regularly, once a week, twice a week, whenever you feel the need. It will help do some cleaning, some physical cleaning as well. Fasting is a good way of cleaning also. 24 hours just water or just liquid. It's an excellent way of cleaning and staying healthy. So, it's in our hands. Your hands are full. You have the knowledge. Raise your consciousness. Raise your determination. Set up your goal and go after it. You can. You've done it in the past. If IT could have whipped the 3 most forceful armies in the world and become independent, there is nothing here that you can't do and become independent, free, and sovereign. Have a wonderful, wonderful time. I don't know if there's what the time is. I'm not looking at the time, but it's important for us to make a determination. It sort of hurt me to hear people say, oh, we're begging for people not to kill us. I don't understand that. If you're gonna fight for something, march for freedom, not for people not to shoot at you. If you're going to march for something, fight for something, risk your life, risk it for something that's worth it. For you to become yourself. And when you are yourself, you don't need nobody's weapons. Your intention, your eyes, and your word. You can take care of everything, but you must be yourself. You must return to your true self. Without becoming your true self, if you have this and have that, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, it will not work. You got to be truly yourself. And our mathematician told us 2 minutes to change the world with the right determination. 2 minutes. That's nothing. Let's get to work. Please, let's get to work. I don't know if there are any more questions or what, but that's what was in there for you right this minute. I see Luckner is there. I say hi. Nima is here. Marlene is there. Daphne is there. Ronya is present. Of course, Yashika is our guest. And of course, Franz is our potomitan.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for those great words, Ma.
Thank you.
And this is what you've been typing in the chat room, but I have it right here on the screen for everybody to see how to get in contact with Fondation Felicité. So please take note. If you would like to donate, if you just like to follow on social media, you have emails here. So please take note, support Fondation Felicité. We'll be very grateful. And also our guest, let's see, yep, this is all of Yashika's way you'll be able to follow Nakumbuka Foundation, website, WhatsApp, email, also on Facebook and YouTube. So please take note, support our own who are doing things, doing great things, right? In the world, we need to support each other as just like how we would support you and anything that you guys do. So I believe, there's one more sponsor here, Thoroughbred Books, right? So please be sure to, it's summertime, the kids are gonna be home, make sure that they have all their reading material So this is a great way for the kids to learn their artistry. Of course, I wrote the first 3 books, Haiti, Makandal, and Boukman. And of course, the blockbuster, Sheroes of the Haitian Revolution, written by Bayyinah Bello and published by Thoroughbred Books. So thank you everyone for joining another session of Bayyinah and Friends. And hopefully everyone has a great day.
Hello.
Thank you all. That was
Have
good.
a wonderful week.
Yes.
Have a powerful week.
You too. Thank you much.
Everybody take care. Luke Nair. Everybody.
Ciao, friends. Everybody.
Donna, Marlene.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.